$1 million contender went on to win a world title 28 wins deep into his successful.
We got the full weigh-in coming for those who hasn't seen it. But let's just listen to it, then we're going to talk about it, get final predictions. $159.2 for Sergio Mora. Of course, the limit is 160. WBA World Title. Remember, Golovkin has the WBA Super World.
The hometown Brooklyn hero. One of the most inspirational stories in all of sports in recent years, since his days as a top amateur and a top.
Sergio Mora looks the same as he did when I saw him. I actually interviewed him. Go on the channel and check out the video.
And one huge
Danny Jacobs, on the other hand, is looking a little weight drained. Just a little.
As well. He is the miracle man, Daniel Jacobs.
Meaning he doesn't look the same as he did when I saw him yesterday at the press conference. Like maybe he cut 5 to 10 pounds overnight, maybe. 159.8. So what we're going to do is, that's enough for that part.
Sergio Mora, both ready and fit, guys. We're going to have you.
I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. I'm actually credentialed as media for this fight. I covered the media workouts in the final press conference. We have someone covering the weigh-in, and we're going to have the weigh-in footage as up as soon as possible. Danny Jacobs, the WBA World Champion. If you don't know, the WBA has 2 belts. For example, when it comes to 147, Floyd Mayweather is the WBA Super World. Keith Thurman, WBA World, 154 pounds. You have Floyd Mayweather, who's the WBA World Super World. Here is Andy Lara, the WBA World, 160. You have Gennady Golovkin, WBA Super World. You have Danny Jacobs, the WBA World. And just to go a little bit further, you have at 168 pounds, Andre Ward, the WBA Super World, but yet called the Cobra Frach, who knocked out George Groves in front of 80,000 at Wembley, was the WBA World, and he was stripped. WBA is a little confusing, but basically this is a meaningful fight. And Sergio Mora is talking about he's going to knock Danny Jacobs out. So I'm like, oh, shit. If you don't know, Danny Jacobs had a battle with cancer. Very good overall fighter. He did get knocked out by Dimitri Pirog in a fight where basically I felt he got careless. It was a fight he could have won. And in a lot of people's eyes, he was supposed to win. But at the same time, you know, he's still overall a pretty good fighter. Going up against Sergio Mora, a guy who is more defensively sound or more focused on defense, I'm thinking to myself, well, I want to see a fight like this go 12 rounds. Now, both of these guys, okay, put it this way. Sergio Mora is not known, like he reminds me of a fighter like a Carlos Molina. No, not that Molina, but the 154-pound Molina that pretty much took Landy Lara to school, in my opinion. He's a fighter that is good, but doesn't get the recognition he deserves because he's not known to be an exciting fighter. But if you look at PBC, he's the only PBC fighter to have the ratings that he has, even though when he was when he did receive those ratings, it was partly because of Sylvester Stallone and Sugar Ray Leonard and, you know, the whole Contender situation. But still, he's a guy who has seen high ratings before, and his name is pretty much known. After all, he did beat Bernard Forrest. And he did fight on pay-per-view against Shane Mosley, and Shane Mosley was still pretty good at the time. So Sergio Mora is not a guy that you can just count out. But if I gotta be honest and if I gotta be smart, I'm going with Danny Jacobs. But if Sergio Mora was to win, it's going to be on an ugly fight, and likely it will be one of those fights where it goes to the cards and there are going to be a certain amount of rounds that are very hard to score. So, as I said, I'm going to be there at the fight. I'm going to get a post-fight interview from Danny Jacobs. Going to try to get one from Sergio Mora, depending on who loses. You know, a lot of times those guys like to skip out. I'm going to be at the post-fight press conference, and I'm looking forward to this fight. It's actually the biggest fight Danny Jacobs has had in quite some time. And when it comes to Sergio Mora, I mean, he's getting that PBC Brooklyn exposure, so I'm pretty sure he's got to be happy with the situation. I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live at RealCombatMedia.com, and I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe.